Hello! If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you're returning, it's good to have you back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the masculine energy. So this is kind of a follow-up from one of my most recent videos, which was all about feminine energy. And I have been on a personal journey of understanding both the masculine and feminine energies within myself. For the past 2 years, I've had a lot of time. I've spent a lot of time in isolation. Actually, a lot of really intense stuff happened, and I kind of went into a self-imposed isolation. I didn't work or anything. During that time, I discovered a lot about myself. It was like a dark night of the soul. During that time, I've just done a lot of inner work and a lot of self-development and really understanding who I am and healing different parts of myself as well. So yeah, if you would like to check out the other video that I made on feminine energy at some point, I'm going to link it up here. Feel free to check that out. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about masculine energy and what that means to me, what I believe the core of masculine energy is. So yeah, let's get into it. When it comes to masculine and feminine energy, we're not talking about like the superficial or like societal standards of what masculinity and femininity are. When it comes down to the energetics of what feminine energy and masculine energy is, it's very different to, you know, say the typical expressions of masculine and feminine. Because really that's all those typical societal standards of masculinity and femininity are. They're just expressions of what those energies can be like, but it doesn't always mean that that is how the feminine energy or masculine energy should be expressed. Those are just some ways that they can be expressed. When we're talking about masculine and feminine energy, we're not talking about expressing ourselves in the way we dress, the way we talk. It's not really about that, because we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, whether we're a more masculine person or a more feminine person. It doesn't matter. We all have these energies within us, and when we can really find balance with those energies inside of us, we become a more whole and balanced person. It actually comes down to yogic philosophy, because feminine, masculine, yin, yang, you know, it's the same thing. And when it comes to yogic philosophy, yoga is all about balance. I won't go on too much of a yoga rant, but when I studied yoga, that's basically most of what we learnt about. It's like all about balancing those polar energies within us. And the word yoga, like literally the translation would be union with God. So it's the union of these two polar forces within us, masculine, feminine, light, dark. You know what I'm saying. So getting into what masculine energy is, the masculine energy is the more structured, organized. It's the energy of doing things. It's the energy of, yeah, like getting shit done, basically. Yeah, the energy of structure. And like I guess a good analogy for the difference between feminine and masculine would be like, you know, straight lines and boxes, whereas the feminine energy would be kind of like, you know, little swirls, like that just kind of, it's like flow. Like the feminine energy is the energy of stillness and presence, but it's also the energy of flow, and the masculine energy is a bit more of that like rigid and structured energy. It's also the energy of action and doing things and being productive and having routine and, you know, that kind of stuff. That is all masculine energy. we can bring feminine energy into those things, of course, but essentially when we are organizing a routine, or planning out our day, or going to work, doing anything that requires like any kind of effort, it's masculine energy. That's why being creative is more of a feminine kind of thing. Even though we do need to take action to be creative, it's still more of that kind of flow state. Being creative generally doesn't feel like work. When I make my videos, for example, I go into a flow state and it's just kind of like flowing through me. That's the feminine energy being expressed. So during my time of introspection, self-reflection, inner work, this time that I've spent getting to know these energies, I've realized that for most of my life, I've been always more of a yin person. So I've always preferred feminine energy. Like, I'm the type of person that, my mum used to call me lazy a lot when I was growing up, because I like the energy of being still and just relaxing, and I love that. And so like learning how to implement masculine energy into my lifestyle has been challenging. Like, I really started to cultivate things like routine and structure in my life. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I started getting into writing lists, like to-do lists for like my days, and that's where I started to create routines and things like that. And it took me a while to actually get into the habit of creating these structures and these routines. And then in the past year and a half, I got really serious about it. Yeah, I just started getting better at upholding a more consistent routine. I feel like masculine energy is consistency. If you think about the male, hormone cycle, for example, their hormones follow the circadian rhythm, which is the sun cycle. So it's just 24 hours, right? And that is actually how men's bodies function, like hormonally as well. So men are naturally able to be more consistent than women. And as a non-binary person, I do apologize if this is triggering for anybody. I'm just talking about biological bodies, and I understand that gender is a very diverse thing, but when we're talking about the biology of the different bodies, that's how it works. So it only makes sense that masculine energy is also intertwined with the energy of consistency. The feminine cycle is the lunar cycle, so it's monthly, and that's why women generally struggle so much more with consistency, because people who are born into a woman's body, that's just, our hormones don't work like that. Our hormones are designed to span over an entire month cycle. So it's crazy. We live in a very masculine world because most jobs expect you to be consistent. There's this like pressure on all people to show up consistently the same every day, and that's just ridiculous, honestly. But that is masculine energy. Masculine energy has to do a lot with consistency, stability, integrity, structure. Yeah, that is what masculine energy is to me. That's my understanding of it. Obviously there's more to masculine energy. Like, it's also like the protector, the provider, the rock, like masculine energy is all of those things as well. But I'm just talking about how I've actually implemented consciously masculine energy into my life, and it all has had to do with creating structure and routine. And that's right, that's the other thing, discipline is a massively masculine thing. Like discipline is so much of what masculine energy is, like discipline and integrity and structure. Like I knew I was forgetting something. I knew I was forgetting one of the words. But yeah, cultivating structure, routine, and discipline in my life, that has been the core of how I've been cultivating masculine energy. It is said that even for a very feminine person, it's important to have a good relationship with the masculine energy, especially in the sense of structure, discipline, and routine. Because when you have that structure in place, it allows the feminine energy to really thrive. So without the masculine energy, the feminine would just be kind of all over the place and wouldn't have a clear channel to direct the energy. So the feminine energy needs the structure and discipline of the masculine to be able to flow in a more clear and precise and organized way. It's like we don't want to be completely rigid and organized, but like we need a certain amount of that energy. Otherwise, the feminine energy will just be all over the place. And that's where you get people, you know, myself in the past included, where people have all of these ideas, all of these amazing creative ideas, and they're not doing anything about it. They're not doing anything about it. They'll talk about it and they'll think about it and they'll daydream about it. They'll never do anything about it. That is a perfect example of when there's an abundance of feminine energy and creative energy, but there's not that structure and masculine energy to help it actually be expressed in a productive way. So a little bit of a backstory for my creative journey. When I was 17, I became a DJ, and I loved it, absolutely loved it, and I was a DJ for a solid 9 years. In the past year or so, I'm not really sure if I want to continue being a DJ, but that's, you know, not something I need to discuss in this video. But I became a DJ at 17 years old, and that was my passion for, you know, a good like seven or so years. That was my passion. I really wanted to write electronic music. I really wanted to make it as a DJ. That was my dream. And I remember even being like 18, 19, and 20, I used to have these like visions and these dreams of being this like famous DJ, like playing at these massive festivals like all over the world, and it felt so real. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm manifesting this, like I'm manifesting it. And I was doing the feminine part of manifesting, and that energy that I was feeling, those visions I was having, they were very real. But the thing is, I never actually took the necessary action, or like, you know, I never took it consistently enough for that manifestation to come into fruition. And not saying that it won't ever, because I still want to write music. I've studied music. I know how to write music. It's not my main focus right now, but I will write music, and who knows, maybe I will be a famous music producer one day. But I don't really care so much anymore. But basically what I'm saying is I spent 9 years. I've played some pretty big festivals, yeah, but I never knew how to be disciplined, and I never knew how to be like consistent and or create any structure for that creativity to be expressed. So that is a perfect example of why the feminine energy needs the masculine energy to express itself properly. And now I'm at this point where I have cultivated, you know, my masculine energy quite a bit. Enough masculine energy to actually be putting my dreams and goals and visions into reality. And confidently trust myself to do that as well. I remember always, like, over that time of, you know, being a DJ and always wanting to write music, I just remember this looming feeling of like, I know I can't trust myself. I would have these glimpses of these like rushes of motivation and inspiration at times, and then I'd like write a bunch of music and be like, yes, I'm doing it, and you know, I'd be like, this is it, like I'm doing it. But I just always had this like this feeling that I knew I couldn't trust myself. I knew that I couldn't actually follow through. I knew that I didn't have what it takes to be consistent with it. I always felt so guilty about that as well. But at the end of the day, I'm not anymore, because I'm kind of glad I got steered away from that path. I think that music will be something that'll be better to revisit in the future, more seriously anyways. So it's been really rewarding and satisfying to cultivate this masculine energy within me, this ability to be structured and have routine and be disciplined. And being able to do that has allowed me to build this deep trust with myself. This deep trust that I will show up for myself, that I will show up when I know that I need to, you know, create or even work or writing emails to the real estate, you know, like I show up for myself, and that is masculine energy. And I wanted to share my experience, and hopefully that will help some of you to understand how you might be able to cultivate more masculine energy in your own life in a healthy way. Because another thing is, obviously there are unhealthy forms of masculine and feminine energy. There's obviously unhealthy and toxic expressions of those energies, but when it comes to healthy, divine, masculine energy, the core of it is, routine, structure, dependability, integrity, discipline, strength, courage, you know, all of those things, and taking action, of course, obviously. And so we all need that, you know, it doesn't matter how feminine you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are, like we all need to cultivate a healthy level of masculine energy as well as feminine energy too. Masculine energy is the energy that allows us to make things happen, to make our dreams come true. We do need it, like it's very vital. I'm a very good example of what can happen if there's an abundance of feminine energy but no relationship to masculine energy in a healthy way at all. You know, I went 9 years. You know, I wrote music here and there, but 9 years is a pretty long time to be so passionate about something and not really make any consistent action. It's a very good example of why it is important to cultivate a healthy level of masculine energy within. If you are super creative and you want to make your dreams come true and you want to live your dream life, you do need structure, discipline, routine, all of the things we've been talking about. We do need it. I think what really helped me, and this is kind of how I started to cultivate more of this energy, writing things down is honestly key when it comes to creating routine and structure in our lives. Like, I have so many notebooks, so many different types of books to write things down and organize in now. But when I first started, I just had one notebook, and every single day, maybe not on the days I had off, but every single day that I wanted to be productive, I would write a list of all of the things I wanted to do in that day. And I would not put too much pressure on myself to follow the list in the exact order. As someone with ADHD, I knew better than to put pressure on myself to do that. Obviously, it is satisfying when you do them in order, but you don't need to. But basically, write a list, and every time you do one of the things, just tick it off. It's actually proven that when you have like a physical list and you tick it off, it releases dopamine in your brain. Ticking off all of the things on your list, or even if you only tick off, a few of the things, it's still going to give you that dopamine release, and you're going to get kind of addicted to that process. It is very satisfying when you have these lists and you go back and look at them and like see all of the tasks you've accomplished. And I used to also, like, whatever I didn't get done that day, I would like cross it out and then just put it on the list for the next day. And if I was having a hard day as well, like I was feeling depressed or something, if I even just did 1 to 3 things on the list, I would be like, yes, I did a good job today. So it's not that you have to be super rigid with it, but this is a really good way to start creating more structure and routine and discipline in your life. I think that covers everything I wanted to express. Thank you so much for being here, spending your time with me. So grateful to be able to share my experience with you and have you on this journey with me. It's exciting. I'm super excited to see what the future holds. So much love to you. Peace.